I haven't been able to get a hold of Bella, and I decided to film at Nora the Fat Salmon chewing on a toy. But I had time to film, haven't got a hold of Bella, so I figured I would film for you guys and stuff like that. Pretty soon, my life's about to get busy because me and Bella are, if I can get a hold of her and not, I'm moving on without her, like, at this point, I really have been thinking about a lot more, or about something, which is that Bella, I love Bella so much. Bella and me are best friends. We're like best friends for so long and stuff, like for almost 3 years. Like, I want to say more like for almost 5 years now. No, not 5. Wait, no. So for like 4 years now, since she was 6, pretty much. We have been best friends. We really got to know each other that summer, and we just really are good friends. But it's getting really hard because it seems like she doesn't really, I feel like we're still friends and all, but I feel like I need to pick someone to like kind of take her place. And I made a friend in dance a couple of weeks ago. This girl, really nice and little and like fun. Like what happened was we started talking in the chat, and it was on a Monday, ballet day. And what happened was, I put in the chat, how it started was, I'm going to tell you, I put in the chat, like, hey, I'm doing really good, I can kind of work on point a little bit better, because the teacher likes hearing when I'm succeeding, like, she likes hearing us succeeding and stuff, like, so I figured it would be a nice little thing, because she did kind of help. She played in to our teacher Tanya or some. She is a fabulous ballet teacher. The first week, me and Bella actually did the first Monday together, and we both put like, "You're a great teacher" in the chat just to be nice, and like she really is. And like I just really connect well with her, and like that's the one thing that I don't like about the Worldwide, is that I feel like each time they switch up the teachers or something, and then I feel like, yes, and sometimes that's good, but sometimes it's not. Like, in the sense that, like, I mean, if they're not doing a good job, which one teacher, I definitely was hoping they would switch it to Angela, but even now I still love Angela, and that they should. I'm gonna tell you who Angela is in a second. Let me fix my necklace. Okay. But what happened? So Angela is a substitute teacher that we have had like 3 times now, and she is fabulous. She's my type of teacher. Like, she logged on, and like the first time working with her, she like the second she like one of the first things she said was like, "We're gonna do a little bit of improv," and I'm like, since that moment, I'm like, please give us Angela. Please give us Angela. She's my type of teacher. Or we got to do conditioning to Pac-Man. I like Pac-Man. I don't really like conditioning too much, but Pac-Man. Like, I was so excited. Like, I just love Angela a lot, and now I'm like, you just permanently be like, I just give her a full, like, class, like, even if you, like, take away one of my days off, just so Angela can have a class, please do that, like, but this one guy, some issues at first with him, only because he seemed like he knew what he was teaching, and I'm not going to talk bad about the Abbey Lee Dance Company because they're really good teachers, but at first he wasn't like my most favorite because like he didn't really look at anyone on Zoom, he didn't really correct anyone on Zoom, and also like he didn't really talk to anyone on Zoom, and he kind of got upset. I definitely saw a lot of yelling and stuff, and it made me feel like I was on Dance Mom, and I love that. But also, most of it was caused because not really correction, but more like you don't need to look at the screen, focus on you, like that situation. But last week, he stepped it up. He proved to me he's gonna be a good teacher. Or like, he stepped it up, like, first thing when he logged on, he said hello, and I'm like, let me turn that off. And he, like, said hello, and I'm like, okay, that's a step of improvement. And last week, he seemed to be more involved with the Zoom people and stuff. Like, he seemed to step it up and do a good job. So now I, like, actually like him and stuff. But I feel like the one downside to the worldwide is when you say, like, when you don't give us the same teachers, even if it's not the same, like, classes, like they're doing different classes or something. And it's hard because you connect with teachers, and then that, like, dance teacher, it's hard to think, oh, you're not going to see them ever again. So, that's a really hard change for me, but pretty soon my life is going to get busier because I am still dancing. In about a month, we'll see. In a little bit over a month, I would say, we'll see if I get to do the worldwide again. I'm really hoping. And so that would be fun. My mom hasn't told me yet about, like, if I can dye my hair. See, I've got a toy. So, like, which is kind of annoying me because, two reasons. First up, it's annoying me because it's taking so long. Like, and yesterday, I very calmly went like, hey, do you know when you're gonna have your answer for that? And she's like, I don't have my answer yet. So, like, it's taking a while. It's taking almost a week. Friday, it will be a week. So that, like, the fact that it's taking so long, but also, like, before I started filming this, I talked with my sister. And she said something on the phone line. And she said something about how Mom actually used to have a blonde wig. And so I'm like, it's a little iffy. That's taking a while. But also, like, if I have to replace Bella to be in that best friend spot, I will. If she's not willing to show, because there's so many times when I text her and I'm like, I really need to talk to you, like, because it's times when I'm at my breaking point of losing my crush, like that sort of stuff, and I don't get a reply, I don't get anything. But at the same time, me and Bella will. But also, I got to consider, Bella did say one time, she said that as much as me and her we're like really good friends, but we're more like sisters in ways. Like, we like to category. Yeah, I do that too. We're like, I have one person that's like my top go-to best friend if I need to talk to someone, go-to best friend spot. Then I have like a category that's my second category of like the sister or sibling category. So when like someone like my friend, like we're really good friends to the point where we're more like siblings. And Bella's in that category. She very much knows. Considering her contact, actually no. I would say I don't have her phone number because right now she doesn't have a phone. She's using her mom's phone. But her phone number or contact used to be, instead of saying Bella, it was sister because we're like siblings. Then I have my third category of people that I'm like friends with, but I don't really know. Well, and a lot of them are music class people, like music class kids, because when I left, or like right around the timing that I was getting ready to move, and with my sister, and when some newer kids came in, and so I kind of got to know them, but not really. So they're in that category. And then I have like really good friend category. And I'm thinking this one girl might have to go into the category of being like my best friend of all time, because how it started was I told you kind of the beginning already. I wrote like a little like thing in the chat, like telling the teacher how well I'm doing on point. It's really working. It's doing good. And it's making improvements. It's just hard. I really need to work on it more because I kind of took a break one week because my toes weren't fully healed yet, but they were 99% healed. But I want them to be fully healed before I pushed it again and like destroyed them again. And hopefully I don't destroy them again. So Monday I'm going to work on that. And then that played into play. But what happened was she actually only replied to that chat thing, and she went like, wait, we're supposed to be on point? And so I replied to that like, no, but I am like, and if you want to. And she's like, okay, and I'm like, do you want to be friends? Because I kind of watched her a little bit, and I knew she's a good dancer, and I'm like, maybe it's a way to push me a little bit. Maybe it's a way that improves me, and we can just improve each other and stuff. And like, we actually met on Zoom, so like, that was really like good, because I try not to make too many like friends like off of social media too much, because you never know what they're really like until like you actually meet them and stuff. But this one, like, because we met on Zoom, which isn't technically a social media platform, but like, even though we were muted, we could talk in the chat. And so I put in the chat, like, do you want to be friends? And she's like, I'm opening up to anyone that wanted to be friends with me. Like, I'm fine with that. And she replied to it, like, yes, that sounds cool. And I'm like, here's my Instagram, Andy Forever. Or if you have, like, do you have an Instagram? And if so, what is it? But if you don't, it's fine. And she replied, like, yes, I have an Instagram. And she, like, gave me her Instagram and stuff. And then, like, then I got done with class. And she had left class a little early and didn't do Miranda. Don't really know why, but honestly, I have no clue, and that's fine. And I went to check on my phone because sometimes they'll like screen record the classes and then they'll like put like information, like they'll screen record the classes and then you get like featured on like their Instagram story. And and so I went to check, and also just to check Instagram, and nothing really was new, none of that really happened. I didn't make it on their Instagram. Fun fact, I did make it on the I made it on 3 different Instagram stories before. What happened was that it was on a Thursday, and they screen recorded, and our teacher, I forget what, I'm trying to think of her name, but it slipped my mind for a minute. But anyway, she's like our conditioning teacher, and she puts us through a warm up and stretch, and then conditioning. Well, she yeah. So what happened was she ended up posting a screen recording on her Instagram story, and I was in it, and that made me really excited. But I didn't actually see it on her Instagram, partly because at the time I didn't know that she what her Instagram was or anything. But it was put on the ALDC Pittsburgh Instagram, which is 2 Instagram stories there, and I was over the top excited. My dad screenshotted it because he has an app and stuff on his computer. And then, the next day, I woke up and I checked Abby's, and I was on Abby's Instagram story, and I about lost my mind. I was so excited. So, yeah. So that was exciting. But then this one day, and at first I thought I was going to have to, follow her on Instagram first to, get anywhere. And then she pretty much, I logged on and it said, you have 1 new follower. So I checked, and it was her, and I'm like, a friendship is made. So at this point, I'm really excited. And it's one of the only, friends I really, I feel like I have so many friends and stuff, but it's always, I feel like it's interesting sometimes, and it's not all, me being a dancer, it's really hard sometimes, because some people don't get it. Some people don't get the long hours. Today, I worked on a couple different, different jumps and leaps and stuff, and some turns, a little bit, but just kind of for fun. And I figured out something, which I really need to keep in mind. I have always struggled with turning in place, partly because I was taught when I first learned any form of jump or really any form of turn or dance thing, I was taught traveling turns. Traveling turns is what I call them. I don't know if that's what they're actually. But rather you're turning, but you're not in place. You're moving somewhere. So you're turning across the floor and stuff. That's what I was taught. And if you are planning to teach someone dance, or you're a dance teacher or something, don't teach traveling turns first. Make sure they can do single turns or turn in place first, because it makes it 1,000 times harder to learn how to turn in place if you learn traveling turns first. And I was taught that way. So for me, I have never really been able to. I always feel like with single just turns in place, it's hard for me, and at first I went like, oh, maybe it's because I don't have anything to really spot. So I put it up some stuff for spotting, and that kind of helped. That like helped a little bit, but it still wasn't enough. So what I did was today, I think it was, I realized when I figured out a little hack. If I noticed that with me, when I'm dancing, I try not to think too much about like dancing, because then I'm gonna like, my mindset that I go to is I think about the dancing obviously and like knowing what comes next and like everything like that, but I don't show it, and I kind of try to get my mind to have something else in the mix, something else. And that something else helped me out a lot, because then, and like, it can help me like with my face, like doing something with my face. So if I'm learning a routine that's supposed to be like happy and excited, then I think of something and as like a bonus thing along with like the dance that makes me happy and excited. Or if the dance is supposed to be sad. And usually if it's supposed to be sad, I think about losing my crush. And it always works. Sometimes it works a little too well. I'm going to open this for a minute just to let the good lighting in. So yeah. And it's a wait and see thing with Bella. But I know that I made a really nice dance friend, and that's really good. But also today I had a little bit of conditioning. What we do is right now we're doing a simple conditioning. And then so what it really is, it's just stuff to do with the weights, partly to help me get a handstand. And the thing that I'm annoyed about, though, with that is my parents want to help. They want to be involved, and that's good, but they don't let me tell them, oh, this is what I should be working on. Because they got, like, the weights, which I love for conditioning, It makes conditioning a little less fun, but, like, it's good. But then they're using it more as thinking in their mindset. They don't understand that the reason I can't do a handstand, they're thinking the reasoning is I can't hold a handstand. That's not what it is, even though that does play into it. Like, you have to know how to hold a handstand, and that's not always to do with, like, weight. Yes, you do have to understand you're holding up your entire body weight. But also with the weight area, it's more of figuring out how to do it and stuff. Like, but my situation, it doesn't go into the weight area. It goes into the fact that at first, learning how to do a handstand isn't something that you do first try. Or, like, not saying that, well, unless you're really lucky. But for me, learning how to do a handstand and it being taught, like, I properly like different things. For some people, doing both feet together works better. And for some people, kicking up one leg at a time. Now, with that, there's two different ways to do it. I like doing it the way that Abby taught me. And so, when you do one leg at a time, you can either just, like, start in almost like a plank position and then just kick up. Like, that's one way. But Abby taught us to actually... Here, I'm going to actually try to... Well, I can't really show you, but, like, Abby taught us to kind of, flex our foot a little bit, like kind of flex our foot, and then use this part of our foot to kick up. Because what it's doing is it's actually working out better. And then pretty soon, if Bella doesn't want to be a part of this fun little, like, the fun, not really little, but like big project, I'll just put in most of the work and it will happen without her, and I'll offer it to this other little girl who is fabulous. So at this point, like, and it's nice that I made a dance friend. They understand it more than some people do. The thing, but also, coming up, we had that, and then sometime, I don't know when, my mom's brother is supposed to be coming, and I'm very excited about that. The thing is that I never got to know that side of the family too much, partly because they live over 12 hours away, like, they live really far away, and we always, like, drove and stuff, but now he is coming down here for a while, for, like, a little while to, like, see us and stuff, and then that will be good. That will be good, family time, and then on top, and then I'm working on a song. And by the way, what happened was, I should probably, like, at one point, didn't you say he was coming down? Yeah, like, around, I want to say, like, around Christmas time or something. And I did say that, and that was the plan, but then I don't really know what happened, but some stuff came up, and so he never actually came, and I realized I never explained that to you, or told you that, so, but probably won't be on camera or anything, but I'm just kind of busy right now. It is kind of hard because because right now I'm in the process of something that's not the most easy thing, which is explaining to my sister why I love dance. Because at this point, it's the reasoning behind that is because my sister has always been like, I'm almost like a second mom. Like, she's always like, I've been like the closest thing next to my mom that is kind of like a mom figure or can be in that position. And she's fabulous, But I feel like she doesn't get the dance thing too much because, and I say this because when she was down, everyone was talking about, like, independence and how, like, I need to learn to be more independent and, like, stuff like that. And then what happened was, and she kind of said something, and I'm like, I'm gonna talk about this real quick, but don't worry. She kind of just said something that I'm like, it made me question, like, she doesn't, it's like, I'm nothing up against my sister, I'm being really nice here, but what she said kind of told me, like, oh wait, I kind of need to explain the dance thing to her, because what she said is, they were talking about independence, and she said, And my mom went like, yeah, like, we're gonna work on that a little bit more. And she went like, cause this whole dance thing probably, like, probably won't last or something like, I forget the exact word, but something like that. And then my mom went like, I know, and I'm like, that set me off with my mom. Like, that made me so annoyed because my mom, of all people now, is one of the ones that understands this dance thing. My mom knows how much I want to dance. And it's hard to just explain that to people sometimes. And I get it. I expected it. Like, because not everyone gets dance. But now, today, I kind of talked to her about it now. I think she's starting to get it. This is my future. Also, today, I woke up with an email that was directed towards me, which was really cool because I never get, like, work emails, like email from YouTube or anything like relating to my channel or anything. But I have gotten 2 of them before, and which both of them were for a strike, but both of them, and then I read the policy, didn't break it or anything, so I calmly replied, and I went like, hey, I think you got the wrong person, because I read it, and that I didn't do something like this, and then they checked, then like a few days later after both of them, they went like, sorry, we had the wrong person. So I don't have any strikes that I know of. But today, I woke up with an email, and YouTube is trying to improve the safety and stuff. So they asked if I would like take the quick little like survey thing and just put my opinions and stuff, so they could make YouTube a lot safer. And I'm like, okay, I'll take this. So I took the little survey, and they're like, thanks. So yeah.